Thank you, Ms. Underwood. Ms. Hinson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Mr. Secretary. Thank
morning.
you for appearing before our committee and answering our questions. Your budget request, I believe you have $77.4 million for border management staffing. Is that correct on my number?
I believe that's correct.
How many additional Border Patrol agents does that number and that funding level support hiring?
So I want to make sure that I speak accurately here, Congresswoman. I don't want to make a mistake because there are two elements of the budget that go to personnel of our Border Patrol agents and Customs and Border Protection.
So let's
writ large.
specifically ask for the agents that are out on the border.
Yeah, there's a drawdown from the Department of Defense, which we calculate separately. Our department, since 2006, every single year has
I'm
depended
not
upon
asking
the
about
department.
2006, Mr. Secretary. I'm
sorry.
asking about how many agents you're planning to add to your list. I believe the number is 350 Border Patrol agents, if I'm correct.
350 Border Patrol agents in fiscal year 2024, and this fiscal year, we added 300, the first time since 2011.
Is this what CBP is telling you they need to be able to secure the border and provide that operational security? Is that the number, or is it more?
It's 300. Remember something, if I may, Congresswoman, that there's a limit to how many we can actually functionally hire in a particular year. We need more Border Patrol agents than 350.
Which is my
that we're
biggest
sp-
concern, because there's 800 or so of those positions that are open right now. So I guess my biggest question is, when you look at 19,000 staffed Border Patrol agents, which is what we have right now, funded for 19,800, 800 of those positions are currently open. So when you're coming to us and saying you need more Border Patrol agents, the policies of this administration have truly affected retention for CBP. So when we're down 800 currently, how can you tell me realistically that when you're coming to us to ask for these many new positions, you're going to be able to feasibly actually hire this many new people?
Oh, Congresswoman, we are intensely focused on recruiting and retention. And as a matter of fact, I spoke with the International Association of the Chiefs of Police just last week about the challenges of recruiting and retention, not specific to the federal government, but with respect to law enforcement across this country. We are very focused on filling the positions of the Border Patrol, of filling the positions of Office of Field Operations,
Well, I
of
think it would
filling the
certainly help
positions
if
of
we
the
didn't
United
have
States
defunded
Secret
police
Service.
rhetoric around the country as well, because law enforcement is struggling. You're right. I hear that from my local law enforcement back in my district. It is why I'm so concerned about the security of the border when the CBP chief is saying that you need 22,000 agents total to counter the crisis. That's a total of 3,000 more agents. This request only provides for 350 more, plus I mentioned those 800 positions open. So I see it as a lack of meaningful work to address the retention challenges. They don't match what CBP is actually asking for. Throwing out increased numbers looks nice, I think, but it does not actually address the reality of the situation at our southern border. Mr. Secretary, are you aware of how many times in your budget request you mentioned the word cartel?
No, I'm not, but I must say I respectfully
zero.
disagree.
It's zero, Mr. Secretary.
Congresswoman, we
in
are.
the 100-page document that you submitted, you mentioned the word cartel zero. You mentioned transnational gangs once, if that's your preferred way of addressing the term, what you call cartels. I'm very concerned when you say you're addressing the cartels in unprecedented ways. The cartel activity along the southern border and in the homeland has escalated, and I can say both times that I have visited the southern border, I have seen that countering the cartel activity was a #1 concern for our CBP agents. But it's a clear indication that you're not listening to the men and women on the front lines. Would you agree that the cartels are a cause of the uptick of the deadly fentanyl surge in our country and the violence at our southern border?
I agree 100% with that, and I disagree with 100% of your mischaracterizations of our commitment to border security, to tackling the cartels, to battling fentanyl. And the fact is that we are supporting fully the men and women, the personnel of the Department of Homeland Security.
Well, the fact is that, Mr. Secretary, with all due respect, we were here a year ago, and it feels a little bit like deja vu when I was asking you if you were hearing about the morale within the department at CBP, when the chief of the Border Patrol is telling us that the border is not secure and that men and women at the border feel disrespected by the policies of this administration. It's very clear to me, sir, that there's a lot more work to be done and that you need to listen better to the men and women who are putting their lives on the line every single day. Mr. Chair, I yield back.
Thank you, Ms. Hinson.